If you'd like to be a guest on the show, the application form is in the show notes. We can discuss emotional abuse, toxic or narcissistic relationships of any kind, parenting after trauma, ADHD, autism, or parenting ADHD or autism. I would love to hear from you. As ever, take care. Bye. Coming up in this week's episode, their ignoring of me is not because I am worth ignoring, it's because of their ignorance. Welcome to The Liberation Effect with me, your host, Helen Villas. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Liberation Effect. I am delighted to have Catherine back for part 2 this week, and we are getting into the nitty-gritty of feeling invisible. Catherine, welcome back, and thank you for being here. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing really well. Thank you. Still a little bit nervous.
Sure.
But excited as well. So.
Okay. Well, before I repeat the question that I asked you at the end of last session, what are the nerves about, do you think?
I think just because I don't know what you're going to ask me, so then I don't know what question to prepare for. And I've tried desperately not to over-prepare in my mind, to decide that I will go wherever you lead me in the questions and what you pick up. Because I do tend to, in my mind, overthink and over-prepare for all eventualities. So I've desperately tried not to do it.
Well done, because that is hard when that's your natural kind of thing to do. It's a kind of, sounds like a self-protection thing, that if you have an answer for every question, it keeps you really safe.
It does.
Because you've anticipated the thing.
Yes.
I'm really intrigued to know, because I imagine a lot of people will relate to the over kind of looking at every outcome. Have you ever been able to anticipate every single question that you've been asked?
I have not.
Okay.
I have not.
So when you've kind of had things arise that have been tricky, have you been able to anticipate the thing that arose that was difficult?
No. And it's weird because you asked questions that I thought, oh, this is such a small thing. Like, why are we stopping with such a small thing? Like, I haven't even gotten to like the big thing yet. And then obviously, like, the small thing turns out to be the big thing. So no, I have been surprised at every turn, but I think also I don't like to go deep into thinking why things upset me. So then I don't think of those questions because they make me feel uncomfortable and they bring up emotions, and then I'm like, nope, we shall not go there. We shall just put it in a box and put it under your bed. And if it makes a noise, you kick it and then you move on. But
That's such an amazing analogy. If you put it under your bed and if it makes a noise, you kick it and then move on.
You just move on.
But it's under the bed still, and you know it's there, and
it makes a noise every now and then.
And how does it feel when it makes a noise then every now and then?
It makes me feel anxious because, I know at some stage I'll have to sort it out. But I'm hoping that if I ignore it long enough, like magically, it will just disappear into the background or end up not being important or not come up again.
Has that ever worked? Has it ever not come up again?
No, it has never worked.
We're laughing, but this is the irony of it, right? That we do all these things to avoid feeling all these ways, and yet we're still feeling all these ways and carrying the thing that we're trying to avoid. Yeah. Which is tricky because, you think you're doing something that's helping you and protecting you, so expending a huge amount of energy, ignoring a thing, kicking it down the road or under the bed, or just anticipating every possible outcome question, that might come your way. And yet it never works.
It doesn't. It just pops up when you least expect it and when it's inconvenient, when you have a lot of other things waiting. So then in the end, you have to decide, okay, am I going to look at this? And then usually, like, it doesn't actually take that much energy, or like usually it turns out if I just work through it with myself, it'll go away. It was like last time I talked about, I feel with emotions that it's like a wave, and it'll simply drown me. And then you were saying that it's because I never allow actually the water to rise. So then every time it does feel like I'm drowning because I'm not used to it. So it's a little bit like when they tell you what to do to be better and then you don't do it and you're not better. And then when you start doing it, turns out they were right.
Right. Yeah. And then you get annoyed because it's like, as if I, like, first of all, that they were right, and second of all, that it could have been this easy all along if I just had done it.
If I had just done it, Yes.
It's like, you know, the thing of the job that you have to do that you keep putting off and putting off and putting off and putting off.
Yes.
But then when you eventually do it, it only takes 3 minutes, and it's like, oh, but the whole time you've been putting it off, it's been in your brain going, you need to do me, you need to do me, you need to do me. And and then you do it, and it's like, oh, and then you feel really proud of yourself. And then you're like, why didn't I just do it straight away in the beginning?
Would have saved me so much stress and anxiety.
Interesting. So, a little bit nervous then of what I might ask that you haven't anticipated, and because you've been deliberately not trying not to anticipate an answer, feeling quite out of control, perhaps.
Yes. But trusting the process. Trusting.
Okay, and it's fine for you to feel nervous and out of control. You are out of control to a degree because I am uncontrollable where you're concerned. But you are in control in that you have the autonomy and the right and the agency. I don't want to answer that, Helen, and I will go, okay. I might ask you why not, and what's the fear of answering, and we might explore that bit. But the actual thing itself, it's up to you, you know. But even then, even if I say why not, I don't even want to talk about that. Okay, that's your call. You are entirely in charge.
Okay.
What does that feel? You've had a funny, like, oh, okay. What happened there? What was the reaction?
I don't think if you ask me, I'll say, no, I don't want to talk about it. I honestly don't think I'll say that. Because...
Why not?
Because I'll feel like there was a reason why you asked it. So...
But there will be, but your safety is more important than my question.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll probably answer. And then feel uncomfortable answering. Kind of.
Okay. So what do you need to feel comfortable enough to say to me, I don't want to answer
that? I think maybe if you notice in my body language, like even though my words are saying, oh, I'll answer it, but obviously like my whole demeanor is like, I don't think I should, just to check in and to say, are you comfortable answering it?
Okay, I can do that, but can I notice to you with that, you're asking me to manage your feelings in that, which is tricky because what if I get it wrong? Apart from anything else, and the fact that you're an adult, but never mind that. But what if I don't notice? What if and then, do you see where that could end up being a factor for us?
Yes.
So what do we do?
Okay, I'll try to say, I don't think I want to, no, not I don't think. I don't want to answer that. Or,
okay, what if we gave it just a code word? Would a code word be easier rather than having to say the whole sentence? Would it be easier just to say X that?
Yes, I think maybe skip, if I can say skip that. Like when you're on a game show and they're like, no, skip that question. Like, I don't want to.
Skip, pass. Okay.
Yes, maybe that.
Okay, let's agree then. If you feel like you don't want to answer a question, you just use the words pass or skip or something similar so that I know. Yeah?
All right.
Sound okay? If I notice your body language being different in a really significant way, I will, of course, also say something about that and ask you, I've noticed a shift. Is everything all right? Okay? All right. So with that all in place now, with the knowledge that you are in charge and your autonomy is more important than anything else in this situation, we ended last episode with me kind of saying to you, what do you risk losing by considering yourself important? And that kind of set that as your homework. So I wonder if you've thought about it, what thoughts might come up right now, and so on.
I have thought about it, but even thinking about it made me quite uncomfortable to ask myself like the levels, because there's like a surface level answer. So my answer then is still very similar to my answer today, which is it doesn't feel safe. Like I risk losing safety.
Yeah.
Not being observed, because if I'm being seen, then I'm being observed, and then people can comment on what I do.
Okay.
And it's so weird for me, because feeling invisible is really frustrating for me, but feeling seen is incredibly uncomfortable for me.
So feeling invisible is frustrating. Feeling seen is uncomfortable.
It's extremely uncomfortable.
Is it like threatening uncomfortable?
I don't know if it's like threatening. Dangerous. It's kind of like I have a feeling of I don't like you seeing what I'm doing. I don't like you commenting on what I'm doing. But then it doesn't make sense for me that when you don't see what I'm doing, I feel invisible. Like that in my mind, those two things don't, like, they are opposite of each other. If I'm frustrated that I'm not being seen, then surely when I am seen, that should be validating. It should be it should make me feel safer. So I don't understand why I feel this way.
Let's look at what happened when you were seen as a child. What would happen? Because it was really interesting that you said, if you see me, it means you can comment. It means you can have an opinion. You can, and that would imply that all of those things are going to be negative.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
But they usually
so when
are.
You were,
are they not? Are they not usually? My experience is usually that they are. So, for example, this year I've really focused on my health. I have PCOS, which I've ignored. I've put it in a box under my bed. And this year it started making noise. And coincidentally, or at the same time, my husband and I started to train for a mini Camino, walking 60 Ks. We walked 60 Ks in 3 days in a beautiful part of our country. So we trained for it for like 6 months, because I was not fit and I was not healthy. And then part of it was also then getting a new GP and focusing on my health, all the things I need to be healthy. So all of this together meant my body changed a lot, and quite rapidly, actually. And it made me so incredibly uncomfortable when people started noticing that my body had changed. And I found myself wearing clothes that don't fit me for longer than I think I should have, because I felt like, no, if I still wear the clothes, like I still look that way, it's safer. And then when I started actually wearing clothes that fit me, because my other clothes started irritating me, I got more comments. And it just made me incredibly uncomfortable. But then at the same time, in my family, like, my parents didn't comment on any of this, like nothing.
Right.
But I found myself being really anxious that when they do comment on it, like, how will I defend my health? How will I say, it's yes, I've changed, but it's because I'm working on my health? Or so it's almost like, for me, when people comment, I have to defend what they are commenting on.
What kind of a comment would you have to defend against? What would that be in that scenario?
It would be my mom. Well, if you take my mom, it would be my mom saying, oh, she's so happy that I'm losing weight because it's so much healthier for me. Whereas in fact, I wasn't unhealthy before, like my blood tests and all those things were normal and things like that. But it's don't know. It's just, it would be that this thing that I'm doing for myself, it would almost be like they are taking that and then commenting on it for them. Or they would, in my family, they would then talk to family members and say, oh, have you seen what Catherine looks like? She's so much healthier. Like, we were so worried about her health, but now it's like, we're so glad that she's doing something.
Because this goes back to the ownership and the intrusion.
Yes. So it's like, in my family, it is to be seen is for other people to take ownership of what they see and then run with it and talk about it in a way that maybe serves them and or centers them. It doesn't center me, but centers them.
So they get to take ownership of it. You're doing it for their benefit rather than your own benefit in some way from their point of view.
From their point of view, yes. So even if my parents comment on how well behaved my kids are, they'll say, oh, you're such a good parent. Oh, you and your husband are such good parents. But it'll be because I raised you to be such good parents.
Right.
It's like the parents who, when report cards come through, they put their kids' report cards on the internet so that people can see how well their kids did.
Yeah.
And then all the comments are, oh, you're such an excellent mom. You're like, well done, Mom.
Yes.
And then you think, well, the mom didn't sit for the exams or the tests or study or anything like that.
Yeah.
So it's a bit, that's the same feeling I get, is like you are taking ownership of this thing where then the focus is actually on you and it's not on me and the effort I put in. But it also is
also there's something, I don't know, maybe there seems to be something about you doing it for them and their benefit rather than for yourself. Like you're conforming to an expectation of theirs rather than...
Yes.
Because and if they have... There's this thing of like, if you're... Let's use losing weight. If you have been somebody who's been in a bigger body most of your life and have heard most of your life from parents, people around you, that you need to lose weight, and then you lose weight and everyone's, oh, I'm so pleased for you. And it's like, your approval of me depends on my body.
Yes.
That's gross.
Yeah.
And it's like, patronizing, so condescending. Yes.
As if what you've done was because they told you to do it, as opposed to...
Yes, and you finally you finally sorted yourself out, and isn't that great? Yeah, like, and also that I get a right to comment on your body, because there's a sexualization in it as well. I don't know do you experience that or not? I might be projecting because
I don't think the sexualization, no, but there is a projection. My mom has always struggled with her weight. I grew up with a mom always going to Weight Watchers and weighing food and stuff like that. Even into her 70s, she still struggles with accepting the body that she's in. So I think it was more I don't want to be that. I don't want to...
Is it that you're then like her as well? She thinks that you're the same person if you're losing weight.
Of me. Yeah, because she'll be very proud of me. And then I'm actually not losing weight to be for your benefit. I'm actually doing this lovely thing with my husband and we're really excited and I'm focusing on my health. And then the natural byproduct for me, I'm not saying it's for everyone, but for me was that my body shrank. So at work, when people ask me, like, what did I do? I would just say, oh, I'm focusing on my health. That was a good answer. Or when one of my colleagues asked me, I said, oh, she was like, what are you doing? And I said, oh, it's happiness. And I made it myself. And then she was so confused. So I said, no, I'm just focusing on my health. But I find it's the same, even with the work things, like I'm doing projects that I think have value and that should be seen. And then the moment they get seen, then I'm like, oh, now people have expectations, or now I have to do something with this project that they want me to do with it, as opposed to
you don't get to control the kind of narrative of the thing anymore.
Yes. So I have learned,
and that means
controlling seems to be an issue for me. I like to be in control of my environment and what happens to me. I really like
because
it.
you're a human. That's normal. That's human behavior, and that's normal, right? So to want to be in control of our environment, it's problematic when it becomes controlling of other people, but it's very normal to want to control your environment. But that thing of, well, let me take it one step further and ask you, is there anything about, if you put this thing out into the world and someone misunderstands it and you can't explain it, or you can't control how they misunderstand something, you're not doing, go on, say what's happening in your brain right now.
It is something like that has happened now recently in my work environment, where some of the projects are getting attention, and then I've been told that from some colleagues that it's negative attention, like you shouldn't be so visible because it attracts the wrong attention. And then I find myself kind of trying to over-explain. No, but you don't understand. Like it's a really good idea, and it's going to be so helpful, and it's going to be so impactful. And if I just explain it right, like you will understand. So if you are not understanding, then obviously I am not explaining it in the right way.
Okay. And then when you were a child, if you weren't understood and you were misunderstood and something else was cast onto the intention or the functionality of some behavior or thing, what would happen?
Oh, they would never believe me. They
would never believe you.
I feel like they would never believe me.
No, I believe you. I'm just like, that is I suppose my kind of like, oh, they would never believe you, was more like, oh, well, of course you don't like being misunderstood then.
Yes, I really
like don't. The maths of, I need to control how you perceive the thing, because if I'm not believed, it makes me feel what?
It makes me feel really unsafe, and it makes me feel unimportant. Because if you ask me, are you doing this, and I say this is what happened, or this is why I'm doing it, and then your reaction is, no, it's not. Like, no, it's not. It's because you are this way, or it's because you always do it like this way, or you are just like your mum, or you are just like your gran. I find it very, I find that then it feels to me like I'm almost dissolving as you are telling me that what I've told you happened, or what I told you how I feel. You give me all these reasons why it isn't true. And then I either have to like double down and say, no, that's not true. Like, this is actually what happened, and this is actually what, and you don't know what happened before, so let me just like set the scene for you. Or having to decide to say, you know what, okay, so yeah, you're right, we'll just leave it at that. But I do find, because I know in the last session you told me, I feel like I have to give a reason for feeling the way that I do. And I was like, of course, yes, I have to back it up. I have to show my work. I have
provide the evidence.
And I thought it was normal. I thought, like, that is how it works.
It was normal to you. So
but I thought it was normal for everyone. Like,
I think when you have been chronically disbelieved and told what you feel is the wrong emotional response, that is going to be a normal adaptation. I need to justify enough to you why I feel the way I do, so that you accept why I do, and then you can validate me rather than dismiss me or judge me or shame me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So that's it's a really cool way your brain has gone, well, let's cope with that feeling by doing this to prevent us feeling that feeling.
I thought everybody did it.
I think you'll find quite a lot of people do it, because a lot of people will have had that dismissal, because especially kind of my age group, and I don't even know how old you are, but
I'm in my mid to late. I'm 46.
Oh yeah, well, I think we did say that last time, didn't we? Yes, so I'm 47 tomorrow. So I am going to sorry, our generation, the parenting was very much like, who cares about your feelings?
Yes, and in my family, what also happens is my family loves to rewrite a narrative. So if something happened, and you were upset about being treated a certain way, the story would very quickly change to why you are the one. So it's not that somebody was being mean to you or treated you badly. It would be that you were so disrespectful, or you really shouldn't have done this and this and that. And then that's the narrative that they then run with, and the narrative that then gets broadcasted. And it still happens. It happened recently as well with my parents. And it's just, I'm so tired of it, of constantly having to say, oh, no, that's not what happened. Like, I don't know where you got this, or I do know where you got this, but this is not the truth. So nowadays I feel myself just not wanting to explain, but rather than saying, you know what, then I will keep my distance. Because if you believe this, knowing who I am, without coming to me and saying, oh, I heard that you did this, I can't, like, it doesn't sound like you. Or just saying to the person, like, I don't know, that doesn't sound like Catherine would do that. I would rather then not really have anything to do with you, because I don't want to be constantly saying, no, that's not what happened, or like, I don't know, you're confused. Because it's so tiring.
Well, it is tiring, but it's also my kind of take on that. If somebody smears me, and this has happened to me multiple times, and if somebody is going to smear me, and a mutual friend person hears that smearing and just accepts it blindly without any kind of questioning of me, what that tells me is that they want to believe that thing. They already believed it, and all they're looking for is evidence to confirm it.
Yes, and that is very sad for me, because I was under the impression in the recent events with my family that I actually got along very well with these family members, and they were a safe, like, group.
Yes.
So it's just so disappointing then to be like, oh no, like you would rather want to believe like a salacious detail, because it's I remember you said as well, like, information is currency. So you would rather want something that you can talk about than saying, hang on. And I feel bad, because I've also fallen into that. If I now look back in interactions, then I definitely fell for it.
Right.
So it's easy, but it's I don't know, it's just I don't want that in my life anymore.
No.
Yeah, I don't. You should be thrilled to be with me. You should be like, oh, this is delightful. Just yesterday I was telling my son, he was saying something about someone not understanding him at school. And I said to him, you know what? I don't understand it. You are delightful. Like, you are filled with delight. Why would someone not understand that it's such a privilege to be with you? And I'm finding that, because I'm trying to teach my kids that the spaces they're in and the friends that they're in should really be excited to see them. They should be happy to be with them. That if I am then in spaces where that's not happening, then I'm like, wait a minute. Like, didn't I just tell my kids that if people don't see you as delightful, you should maybe reevaluate where they fall on the spectrum of being a close friend versus someone that I just know.
Yeah, because there's a thing of, if I have to shrink myself to make you more comfortable, if I have to apologize for how I make you feel small,
yes,
or beg for you to treat me with respect or want my company, I'm not sitting at that table.
No,
I'm not going to sit there. I had on Saturday night, with it being my birthday, I had a board games evening, and after everybody had left, there were a couple of people left over, and one of them was talking to me about the fact that my brain holds quite a lot of information and does quite a lot of things at the same time. And so even there, I'm struggling to say, he was telling me, asking me what it was like to be so intelligent, right? And I'm struggling to even own it, because I have been punished for it my whole life, that my intelligence makes other people feel small about, small in themselves, not from my doing in any way, shape or form, but from theirs. And it's stop showing off, stop talking, stop going on about it, all of this stuff. Whereas actually I'm going, because we played this amazing game called Timeline. Sorry, this is such a side quest, but there is a point.
Board games.
Okay, so there's this amazing game called Timeline, and the point is that you have to put events in history in time order, chronological order.
Does sound fun.
So it's so cool. And it's got like the randomest things, like the founding of the first village, right? And then it's got harvesting the first bees, and it's got, like, when was the first, oh God, I can't think, of printing press invented, and when was this and that and the other. And there were multiple things that were being raised that I was like, oh, and the story behind that is,
I like so that
cool,
as well.
because, right, and I was explaining, like, at one point somebody had a musical instrument when we're like a flute, where flutes first formed. And I happened to have just recently been looking up stuff about music and the birth and the blood development, evolution of music, because of course my brain and what have you. And I was like, oh no, that's going to be like right early. That's going to be earlier than the first village being founded, because when they were doing archaeology, they found these bone flutes in this, like in the cradle of life and yada, yada. And I happened to be right. But people didn't necessarily agree with me at first. And then I was explaining that, well, the first village wouldn't have happened for ages, because it would have been nomadic, because they would have needed to move around for grass to be able to feed the animals so that they could feed themselves. And actually the wars would have broken out over land, and people wouldn't have settled because they would have needed to. Anyway, my brain, and it's like, and this person was asking me what it was like, and I said, it's a really interesting thing, because I know it costs me relationships, because I know people find it difficult, whereas I find it joyful. Yeah, and I'm like going, oh, there's the stuff, and right.
Because I'm also like that. I am a librarian by profession.
Yes.
Yeah. And the job, I'm like a reference librarian, a variation on it, but like that. So you give me your topic, and then I go and look for keywords and find you articles. And
amazing.
And if I don't understand the subject area, I have to read up a little bit on that.
Sure.
So, for example, I know that there are more chickens in the world than people, because I had quite a number of chicken references that I had to look up. But I'm also extremely fond of learning. So I'm always listening to podcasts and history podcasts, or podcasts talking about culture and how cultural events and politics and everything work. So I'm also always going, oh, I know that. Like,
yes. And yeah, and let me tell you about this. Is so cool.
Yes. Right? And then I'm lucky enough that most of my friends then allow me to info dump everything that I have learned on them. And because my son is on the spectrum and he has ADHD, info dumping is a regular occurrence in our house.
If you're scared of rejection, of saying no, have no idea how to trust people, you're not alone, and you don't have to heal alone either. That's what the Hub is for. It's a membership community designed for survivors just like you. Every month, we dive into powerful courses, we hold live calls, and connect in a supportive, understanding space, so you can break free from the past and build healthy, fulfilling relationships. Maybe it's time to stop surviving and instead start thriving. Visit jointhehub.ac today using the code POD20 to get £20 off your first month's membership. I can't wait to see you there. Take care. Bye. Can I change the language around that? Just really quickly. Because info dump, it sounds a bit suffocating. It sounds like there's a negative connotation.
Is there another term for it?
The word dump. Yeah, it's called pebbling.
Oh, and I've heard of it, yeah.
You've heard of this? Yeah, the idea being, for those that haven't heard of it, that when penguins get married, and I say married in verses, when they commit to each other, because marriage, social construct and all that jazz, but when they commit to each other, they give each other a pebble, and it's like, here's a pebble because I care about you, and maybe I don't communicate in the way that like neurotypical people communicate, but I communicate by sharing information I find exciting. And so if I'm sharing information with you that I found interesting, that's me connecting to you, and here is a pebble of information that I think you'll enjoy because I enjoy it and it connects me to you for doing so, right?
So I also do that, where you will say something and then I will connect to it. I'll be like, oh, do you really want to know why this is? If someone says, oh, I wonder why this and this, and then I'm like, oh, I think I know why. Or if we're talking about a certain thing at work, I'll be like, oh, but this connects to this, and then this connects to this, but then you also have to make sure like all of it connects together. And then colleagues will ask me like, how do you keep up? And then I'm genuinely confused. I'm like, but it's fun. That's
what I do. I like, why would you not want to know that? And
why
how
would
can you not Google that immediately and find everything out that you?
So with my teenagers, I have learned to rather ask and say, when they ask something, be like, do you really want to know? Because I happen to know why. Or was it just a more general, like, because otherwise I'll go like in a 3-minute pebbling information sharing exercise, and you were actually just hypothetically wondering. You didn't actually want to know. But I'm luckily...
So hang on a moment. Hang on. Sorry, I'm pausing you for that. So they ask a potentially rhetorical question of why a thing is the way it is.
Yes.
But you, before sharing the information, want to make sure that you ask them, do you really want to know? But they already know about you, that you're somebody who will likely have an answer.
Yes, but the reason for that is, and I it's such a cliche to say like, but in my family, even now at 46, if I talk to my parents about stuff and I'm really excited, or even just general stuff, like my father will mid-sentence lose interest in what you're saying and then either leave or take his phone or literally turn on the TV while you are in the middle of a sentence, and then just go. And that's been true since I was a kid, because I remember sometimes my mom would say, she was actually still talking, and my dad would be like, oh, what did you want to say? And then obviously I'm going to go, no, it's fine. Just let's. And my mom is the same as well. I will say my mom phones me and she's like, how are things? And I actually start explaining if we've had a rough time or I'm struggling with stuff. I can hear in my mom's voice at a certain stage, like she's completely lost interest. So she'll wait for me for a natural break in the conversation. And then she'll be like, oh, that sounds really bad. But anyway, so this is happening with your aunt, or we're packing for this, and then the conversation just completely derails. So I have learned to rather ask, like, I have like an answer for you.
Okay, hang on. Let me pause you and say, or no, not pause you, but let me reframe that like scenario for you. Imagine one of your children was in the middle of telling your husband something that they were really excited and interested in, and he either turned and picked up his phone and started scrolling, or turned around and like put the TV on and just started watching. How would you respond?
No, I would take him to task. I would say, like, she's talking to you,
And
or
what would you
he's
say
talking
to your
to,
child?
I would say, I'm really sorry, that was very rude. It's rude to ignore people anytime, but it's especially rude to ignore someone in the middle of a sentence when they haven't even finished yet. But it is something that genuinely occurs frequently in my family.
And nobody calls it out?
No, because if you call it out, then you're being disrespectful.
Are you kidding?
No.
You're in the middle of a sentence, someone turns away from you because they can't be bothered to engage, and you call it out, and that's you're being disrespectful.
Yes. Yes, you're being disrespectful and difficult because you can see that they want to do something else. So
can you look confused at my horror or my...
I am confused at the intensity of it, yes.
Because it's such hypocrisy.
It is, and I desperately try and I intentionally focus on not doing it with my children. So sometimes what will happen is your kids will want to tell you something, but you are physically in the middle of something else, like, so you can't pay attention. So if I pick up, then my kids were excited to tell me something, and I'm like, no, I have to wash the dishes, or I'm busy with something. There's an expression that people get when you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, what do you think that is?
I don't know if it's it's like you're being inflated. Like you were so excited, and then you're like, oh. So if I inadvertently see my kids doing that, I will say, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, I can see you're really excited to tell me this. Could I possibly just finish the oil on the stove? Like, I can't. Could we, maybe I'll turn it off. Could you just give me 2 minutes? I just need to finish what I'm doing here, and then I'll give you attention. Then I'll give you my undivided attention. So I try to be really intentional about it, because it's such a horrible feeling when you are excited about sharing something, and in the middle of a sentence you're like, oh no, they stopped listening. Like,
okay. And so here is the thing around, I am making myself visible by sharing something that brings me joy, excitement, happiness, that I'm proud of, that I'm proud I even know. And the response is dismissal, almost disgust, and total rejection, which in turn then leads to shame, probably, around the fact that you even wanted to share it in the first place. It's just such rejection. And there is something about there is a special place of, I want to say hatred, anger, I don't know what the word is, but there is something really, really revolting about people who squish other people's joy.
Yes.
Really disgusting, because whoever taught you to apologize for your excitement, your happiness, your childlike glee at something that you like, they don't deserve a moment of your thought or I'm so angry with them, right? Because to be enthralled and enchanted and enjoy something, whether it's flipping sea snails or the sun or just like a cool leaf that you found, for them to squish that joy is the most revolting thing in the world, right? Because what they teach you is to apologize for excitement and wonder and freedom and liberty in that joy. And the kind of line that I'm drawing is that when you made yourself visible by sharing something like this, being vulnerable in your emotion of, oh, how cool is this thing? And oh my God, I found this out. And did you know? And that happened, and then this happened. And someone just goes, and turns away and turns the TV on. The shame, deflation, rejection, the self-disgust that we have irritated somebody so much, who's meant to love us, by the way, more than anyone else, or so they claim, that we have made them turn from us in our moment is awful. And so what you've learned then is that visibility means rejection, and rejection feels horrible. And I wonder how that's sort of landing.
No, it is true. And what is true for me now is I know that they will do that. So over the past few years, I have really cut back on the information I share with my parents. That if they ask me how things are, we have a joke in the family where we say, if someone asks you how you're doing, you say, "Oh no, fine." It could be a shit show, but no, it's fine. And if they keep asking, you say it's fine. And then if they keep asking, you're like, "I said it's fine." But because the few times where I'm like, "Oh, I'm really excited about this," or "I'm really bummed about that," and I forget that they react that way, and I share, and then they react the way that they always react, I'm also really disappointed in myself because I knew going in that they would do that. But then there's a part of you who are like, okay, no, but maybe this time, this subject, or maybe, because it's this thing that they are also actually interested in. So it kind of hooks. So I can get them interested because it's something they find interesting, and then they don't. Then I'm so I'm really then just disappointed in myself because I'm like, what did you expect? You knew this was going to happen. So how many times do you have to go through this before you realize that, oh, this is just, they're always going to do this.
So it's always your fault that they react the way they do?
Yes, because I'm always too much. They say I'm too much. I'm too loud, I'm too dramatic, I'm too funny, or I'm too sarcastic, or I'm too opinionated, or it's just there's always two, you are too to this. And it's difficult because in the application I said my husband still wants to get that approval and saying that, no, look, we give the best gifts to you. When it comes to gift giving, we give the most thoughtful gifts or the most expensive gifts, or we travel the furthest to get to you, or when you need something, we are always the ones that are there for you. And I want to tell him it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I do, because the approval that they give is fleeting. It's, they'll be chuffed with the gift, but then somebody else will give them something, and then whoops, there goes their attention, goes there. Or they will say we have to all have a family get together and we have to go the furthest, but when you get there, they're not even happy to see you necessarily. They're like, oh, right, you made it. So it's just, it feels to me like chasing my parents' approval is just hasn't gotten me anywhere in the 46 years that I've been their child.
No. But he's still doing it.
Yes, because he tells me
he's still chasing their approval.
Yes, because he says this time your mom will see. And then I want to say no, because she doesn't want to see. And
how much does this get in between your relationship with you and your husband?
I would have said not too much, but this year it's been especially difficult.
In your letter, you said that you respect his need for a relationship with them.
I do.
And I wonder if he respects how much they hurt you.
I think for my husband, he wants to believe that it's not as bad as I say it is.
So hang on, here you go. Oh,
what?
Okay.
What did I do?
Well, I'm possibly about to drop a bit of a truth bomb, and what I hear you saying is you're having to convince him about your feelings.
Yes.
And that sounds very familiar to what we talked about right at the beginning.
Yes.
That you're still having to convince somebody you deserve care.
Yes.
In these feelings. Yes. And that feels difficult.
It feels lonely because if you tell someone, if I tell someone, oh, I say to someone, Helen said this to me and it really hurt my feelings. Mm-hmm. But then they say, oh, I'm sure she didn't mean it. I'm sure, like, you misconstrued. You misconstrued. You misunderstand. You were tired. They were tired. The timing wasn't right. It's a horrible feeling. Mm-hmm. And then I've had 2 or 3 conversations quite recently with my husband with interactions with my parents that left me in tears after they left. Mm-hmm. And the last one I said to him, how many times do I have to tell you that this is how they make me feel before you realize that this is how they make me feel? Because they do not treat my husband this way at all. They adore my husband. They always talk about his interests. They share a lot of interests as well. I mean, my mom sends him memes and funny videos, which she never does for me. It's interesting when they visit as well. My parents tend to only talk to him in a conversation. So they will only make eye contact with him and only talk about his interests. And I don't think he realizes it because it's nice when people talk about your interests. Mm. But I told him, like, they have been here 40 minutes. They haven't talked to me once. They haven't even looked at me. So that's why. No, he says, but you should then participate. And then I say, but you are talking about stuff that I'm not interested in. You're talking about rugby and you're talking about sports and stuff. And I'm honestly.
He's also blaming you for their treatment of you in that.
Yes, because he says he has to work so hard to keep the conversation going because I'm not contributing. And then I say, but nobody asked you to contribute. If you just stopped making the conversation go so much, it would lead it would just naturally peter out. And then, like, maybe we could talk about something else, or they could leave, or I could leave because it'd be like, oh, thank you so much for coming. I'm a bit tired, had a long day, but you keep the conversation going. So he feels from his side, like, because I don't do anything, he has to work so much harder to make these visits and interactions fun for everyone. And I told him it's not fun for everyone. It's fun for maybe my parents. It's not fun for me. I'm ignored. It's not fun for you because you say you have to work so hard to keep the conversation going. So in the end, both of us are trying to appease them when it's our house, and surely we could
there's
in
a participation in the. Go on, sorry.
No, and surely in my house that I paid for with my money, we can talk about things that I also enjoy. Or not. Or not. There's like sometimes
he's participating in the rejection of you in that, Catherine. There's like
it does
collusion
feel like
from him. Yeah, and again, I'm coming back to what's so interesting is the conversation we had before the first session, where you said to me you didn't want to get into a kind of parent bashing scenario. And I was like, cool, that's no problem. But we keep coming back to the ways in which they continually perpetuate you feeling this invisibility. And then now your husband is colluding in it as well. Because when he's doing that, regardless of this, I'm trying to make it fun for everyone and you need to participate or contribute, he's colluding in your invisibility by like plowing on with this conversation. And it's not fair and it's not okay. And it's not what a partner should, or we would ideally hope that a partner will do.
It feels terrible.
There's a rejection. I'm sure it does.
I feel so small.
Here you are being visible. Yeah. And again, you're being visible to him, saying, I have this experience when you do this thing, and he minimizes it. He's dismissing it and he's blaming you for it. And all of those are gaslighty type behaviors. Now, I'm sure he doesn't mean to be doing that, but his desire to protect his relationship with your parents is hurting your relationship with him, but more importantly, hurting you. And it will erode, and it will lead to huge, if it doesn't already exist, huge resentment, because he's prioritizing them over you.
Yeah, I think I have recently come to that realization.
Okay.
And when we were training for the Camino, it was my parents' birthday, and I told him I don't want to get a big gift for my parents because shit, they don't deserve it. They don't.
Right.
I can spend my money on myself.
Right.
And he was like, no, we'll get them like 2 Stanley Cups because they like to go camping, and Stanley Cups last forever. And I was like, okay, it's like really expensive in my country, but okay.
Yeah, they're expensive.
Then he was like, no, but we should add like sweets and stuff to that. So he got a box. And then whenever we'd go grocery shopping, he'd be like, oh, your dad really likes this. We'll get him that. And then I'd be like, no, but we already got him stuff. Or he'll say, oh, your mom really likes this. And what happened was I saw the box and I was like, what are those sweets doing in the box? I asked my daughter, I was like, what are they doing there? Because we keep sweets in another place. And she was like, oh, no, Dad bought it for the gift box. And the following day when we were training for the Camino and we were walking at 5:00 in the morning, I lost my shit in the middle of a road, like screaming at him, saying I told you it's enough. Like I told you I can't, like we're not spending any more money on them. And you just continue buying stuff. I'm like, why is buying them more things more important than me saying like it's enough? It's and then he says, no, but it's something they like. Why is it an issue? And it's not expensive. And then I'm like, but that's not the point. The point is I asked you to stop doing it and you continue doing it. And I said to him, you think if they open this box and they find all these thoughtful gifts, like these are all stuff that they really like to eat. It's not a random collection of things. It's really, you were really thoughtful. You think that they will treat me better, but they won't, because they don't. They won't. They won't.
They'll treat you better or him better?
Well, they already treat him very well.
But he maintains that treatment
by making them happy. Yes. 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 My mom's comfort and my dad's comfort and what they like and when they visit, how things should be for them is very important to my husband.
Right.
Yes. I would say it's more important to him than how the rest of us feel about having to do all these things to make sure that the visit goes well.
Okay. And what's that telling you?
It feels that then they are more important than us.
So, and that makes you feel?
Unimportant and invisible, because I've asked you, like it's not that it was a wishful thinking, but like I have explicitly said, I don't want us to do X, Y, and Z. And then you do X, Y, and Z, and then you say, oh, but they enjoy it. It's not that big a deal. They're only here for a short time. And then I find it really difficult to tell him, but it's part of like a bigger, yes, it's just a visit, but it's every visit.
There we are, going back to the very beginning of explaining, justifying why you feel the way you feel. You're still having to do it over and over again. There is no need to do it. I don't like it when you do this thing. They hurt me. He knows enough backstory to know why that you might feel that way. But he goes over your head and does it behind your back.
Yes.
And that also feels like a betrayal.
Yes, it's really not. It's really not a nice feeling.
It's not okay. And I wonder if this happens elsewhere in the marriage, or is it just with you're with your parents?
I would say it does happen in other places as well.
Okay.
But I'm also not always, the forceful is maybe not the right word to use, but I'm also not very good at articulating.
Okay.
Although I overexplain, so then how am I not good at articulating?
I was just going to say, how does it help you to blame yourself and him not listening? There is the thing of you are explaining exactly why you don't like what he does.
Yes.
And then he's doing it anyway. And again, we're contributing to this sense of being invisible over and over again. And so the idea of you, it's really interesting that when we were talking about you being invisible, when you're invisible, it's frustrating, but when you're visible, it's dangerous. Because look, it keeps being reinforced that being visible does not get you anywhere. Being visible is where you get told your feelings are irrelevant over and over again. And he's contributing to that.
But then what do I do?
Then you see, okay, we need to work this out. Because ultimately it will destroy a relationship.
Yes.
Because now you're aware of it as well, you'll be noticing it all the time. This is the difficulty with, people ask me all the time, like, is it normal that all my relationships have died because of being in therapy? And I'm like, unfortunately, yes, because a lot of them are going to be based on old relational pattern where you're used to the thing happening. And so you don't question it because it's normal, in inverted commas, to you. And so unfortunately, as we get better, and it was interesting when you were talking about the idea that people should be cheering you on and championing and being glad to be around you and celebrate you. And I relayed the kind of thing about the game and the person asking me about being intelligent. And I really, after one particular person said to me, I think it was last year at some point, and then somebody else backed it up, the idea of my brain and how cool it is. And, I really notice, like on a really microscopic level, where people are either celebrating it or intimidated by it and want it to be smaller for their comfort. And it does cost you relationships when you become aware of these things. And then the difference being, I know that it's not about me. I know it's not because I'm too much or I'm trying to make people feel stupid because they don't know. I'm genuinely sitting there going, there's a cool fact. And I just remember stupid shit, but I don't remember what I had for breakfast yesterday or even this morning. Or it's that when we are looking around at who cheers us on and who lifts us up, and we really notice who doesn't, and in fact, even more so, who does the opposite. And so the difficulty that you've got now is that you are aware of this behavior in him, and that may require some couples therapy to just be able to get an outside voice to navigate or negotiate the place where you guys end up in that he be allowed whatever he needs, you be allowed what you need, but you're not undermining each other at all. But they are your parents, right? And then and that therefore gives you seniority in my opinion. This is an opinion, so other people may feel differently, and that's fine. But it gives you seniority in how they are handled, how things are managed, how gifts are given, all of the things that he doesn't get to override that. They're your parents, right?
Yeah,
And vice versa.
I told him
Right.
a couple of months ago that I think when it comes to family and inviting family over for a barbecue or dinner or whatever, that the person whose biological family it is should have a veto. So even though all of the, like my kids and my husband are like, oh yes, we can't wait. If I say no, I don't want to invite them, that should be like, then we will not invite them. So I feel that if it's my family and I don't want to participate in anything, that should be enough to say, no, I don't want to do it.
No is a full sentence. No is a complete answer.
I do honestly believe that if my husband is not intentional with this. I really think it comes from a place that he also has, a need that he also has. So
sure, of course.
I am convinced that if I tell my husband that this is what I need, that he will do his best to. So basically, I'm saying if my husband knows how to fix it, he will help me in fixing it. Because I did tell him after our conversation last time that I do think I need therapy. regular therapy. And none of us come from a family that really ever went to therapy. My mom went to therapy. My mom, strangely enough, did go to therapy a couple of years ago to help her with her relationship with my eldest brother, but she chose a therapist that were our age because she said she wants a therapist that her kid's age. And she told him that she's not coming for him to help her with anything. Like he should just listen. And then that's like once a week she comes and she vents, and that's it. So she didn't really get any skills or any growth from therapy. But when I told my husband, I really think I need therapy, he immediately was like, okay, like how do you think we should do this? So he is really supportive. I don't think we, both of us, I don't think we realize always like the impact that we have on each other.
Yeah.
And then we don't always have the language to explain what the impact is.
I'm a little bit conscious of time.
Yes.
So I'm going to jump in there and say, okay, you might not always have an awareness of the impact. So the negotiation might actually just be, this is a red card scenario. This is an amber, I can negotiate scenario. This is a green card scenario. So that when you're discussing, it's not that you necessarily have to explain all the feeling behind or the justification. If you just go, this is a red card, non-negotiable, no, don't need to explain it, that is enough, right?
Yeah, that's really good.
That you agree some kind of system where it's, I'm open to negotiation, yes, this is fine, or absolutely not doing it.
Yeah, I think that would actually work. Because I think at the moment as well, he feels that everything for me is a no.
Right.
And I think it might be because I'm trying to protect myself.
I was just going to say the same thing, that it sounds like that the reason you have to have so many walls up and anticipations is because you never know when attack is coming. And even his well-meaning and well-intended behavior feels like attack because you are being dismissed. You are being made invisible in that moment. And it's so interesting to me because you're frustrated at being invisible. Of course you are. Why would you not be? Like, that is just such a normal response, that being dismissed and ignored or silenced or shut down, whether it's in the big, like, turn away from you while you're mid-sentence and watch TV, or just the who cares about that, I'm buying the sweets anyway kind of thing. Like, that's going to be horrendous, because you're just having no impact on anyone in that situation, right? There's no impact at all. And yet on the flip side, you're being told when you're demanding to be visible that your impact is too much.
Yes.
Right? And that it's too big. But also when you are visible, because then the response to your requests for being visible are met with shame and humiliation and rejection. All of those feelings mixed in, whichever one being the primary one. And it confirms to you over and over again that you just don't matter. So the risk of being visible is the confirmation of being unimportant, but then the frustration. So it makes perfect sense to me that you've got these, like, I want to be seen, but it's so dangerous to be seen. I hate not being seen, but it's so dangerous to be seen. Right. And then you can't control then as well what people do with the information that you have shared or given.
Yes.
So here you say to your husband, for example, don't buy the sweets, we do this and we've done that, and da, 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 and he goes and does it anyway. What he's sharing with you then is that no matter what you tell me, it's not important enough, right?
Yes.
Your feelings on the matter are not important enough to override my belief of whatever that I believe, right? Which in turn is a rejection of your entire life experience with them and their rejection of you, right? And then you're, like go on. It does feel like that. Of course it does.
Because sometimes it feels like it's such a small thing, but my reaction is so big. No, it's just sweets, or it's just, no, he didn't listen to what you were saying. But for me, everything is big, because it all feels the same. Like, it all feels in size. It all feels the same.
He's buying the sweets and he's saying, nothing you've told me matters more than me buying him these sweets.
Yes. And it felt horrible.
And that is, of course it did, love, because it's total rejection of every pain and vulnerability you've shared with your husband, right? Every time that you've been hurt by them, that you have shared with your husband, him buying those sweets was an utter rejection of every part of those things, of the trust that you put in him and that vulnerability, that visibility. What's that sitting like?
I think he would say, but it's just sweets. Like it.
And do you know what? He's entitled to think that, but it's not for you.
No, it's not for me. No.
And we know, we can sit and say, we know you don't intend it to be that, but that is how it feels on the receiving end of it. And what you're saying is it's more important for you to buy him sweets than to honor my pain that I have told you exists, that you have even witnessed firsthand.
Yeah, I think what would help me is if my husband and I also have a way of, in a conversation, or when my parents visit, or when we're with family, almost like a secret signal.
Yep.
I pull my ear, or I'm like, is it hot? But like something where I can, earlier in a conversation, indicate to him my discomfort, or my, because I can literally, Helen, feel myself in these conversations disappearing. Like, it really, it feels like in a movie where like one character just fades,
dissolves.
Yes. And it's a horrible, horrible feeling. But I think I honestly, I don't think my husband sees it. He does, because he's enjoying the conversation and he's having a good time, or he's working so much to keep the conversation going. But I do think when you were talking about like red cards and yellow cards and green cards, because he watches rugby, so he understands the whole penalty card system.
Yeah.
But then maybe if he and I can come to some sort of, to say to him, if I do this, it means I'm starting to get into like a yellow territory. Or if I give you the signal, it's a red, so I'm done. Like I'm done. You have to allow me to leave the conversation, or to say, oh, you look tired. Or if I say, you know what, I'm tired, I'm going to go to bed. To realize that that's my limit. because I think what happens now is I don't do that. I sit. And then by the time I get to the point of telling him, like, it just is
too far gone.
It's just an explosion.
Right.
It's just,
so
it's been
that is your
building.
part in this, right? This is your part in the
So.
dynamic.
I think so, yeah.
Right. So your part is to be responsible for, if you need to go to bed, you just do it, regardless of approval of people or not. You just go, or you're in the conversation and everyone's talking and they're ignoring you, go, would anybody, can we talk about something else? Like, or you take responsibility to a degree. But in that moment where you say out loud, let's talk about something we all can talk about, or like, have you guys stopped, have you finished talking about rugby or whatever it might be,
Yes.
that he knows that's a cue that you are feeling left out and ignored and dissolving, right?
Yeah.
Because there is the part of you being the adult, and you, like I said to you at the beginning about, if your body language changes, that's asking me to kind of read something and assume something and manage your feelings, which to a degree in this role, I'm really kind of conscious or like more happy to do than I would if I were your friend or partner.
Yes.
But it's still your job to manage that for yourself, right? So like, well, that's why we did the code word, because then I know, first of all, that I can trust you to call it and I'm not pushing you past a point that you're uncomfortable, and that you're not just complying, and that you've got something that you can then go, no, I clearly said that code word and you didn't listen, Helen, right? And I can say, hands up, yes, you're right, and I didn't do that. And I can validate your experience, take responsibility for my own. But that thing of you in that moment of, you're all in this conversation and they are all ignoring you. You can say something. He can be aware that if you're saying that's a sign you're feeling a certain way. But if you're like, I want to go to bed, then you do it, right? You don't wait for permission from others. You don't. And if someone, oh, don't be so boring. I'm not being boring. I'm tired. I'm going to bed.
Yeah.
Right. It's not you justifying yourself constantly for why your needs are important. But when it comes to this visibility and the invisibility, the thing about the difficulty you're up against with like things like projects and stuff is that people are going to see things through their own lenses, regardless of what we do. And that is not about us, right? I did a video on Gabor Mate that went up over the weekend.
I saw.
And oh, did you? Okay. And some people are really pressed about it, really pressed, really upset with me about it. Others are really relieved, right? So some people are like, thank God someone's talking out about this. And others are going, you must be triggered. Oh my God, what kind of a professional does this to another professional? All I've done is said his science is not good, right? That it's unreliable research. And it is unreliable. Just go and Google it and you will see where the holes are, right? And you're smiling, and I'm hoping that that's an agreement, because you're also a researcher and
Yes.
It's terrible science, right?
It's terrible science, and it really blames the mom. Somehow
it really blames the mum. They all do the mum blaming, like Winnicott, Bowlby. No, yeah, right.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: to devalue my argument, they criticize my mental health, my appearance, like everything other than the actual argument. Or they tell me I've misunderstood it, which is the other brilliant bit. No, I haven't. You clearly haven't read the books. How do you know?
Yes.
How do you know? Because I have. Right?
It's the same with me in my work, is the criticism that they have is not on the actual project or the value of the project. Right. It is about, oh, you're overstepping. It's not your lane. Right. It's
about never their ego then.
Yeah, but it's never about the value of the actual thing.
Right. Come to me with good critical arguments and we will discourse.
Yes.
We will argue and we will talk and we'll have a conversation about it. But saying to me, who do you think you are? You're, professional shouldn't be doing this. Why not? This is exactly what a professional should be doing. Speaking up against some other professional, making outlandish claims that are not based in rooted science. Like I would be complicit if I was silent about that, right?
Yes,
That's silence is compliance.
That's exactly how I feel with this stuff, that the project at work as well. It is absolutely something that someone in my position should be doing.
Right. So here's the other thing about it, Catherine, is that when we put things out into the world, we challenge other people's biases, egos, beliefs, all sorts of things. And whether we're talking about in the family system, micro, macro, like universal, we are showing the world either something they don't want to hear or something they do want to hear. And even the people that are going, yes, confirm, like, and saying, oh, I'm so glad and everything, even those I take with a pinch of salt, because I'm confirming their bias too. So I'm challenging one bias, confirming the other bias, right? Yeah. So it's the, actually, I don't, and this is meant in the kindest possible, most respectful way, don't really care about people's thoughts on the validity of what my claim is, because I know it's okay, right? I know it's good. It's enough that I know.
I'm trying to also have that mindset now, to say it's fine if you don't agree, but that is actually just opinion.
And if you can show me the holes that you disagree with, then we can look at them. But here's the thing: the only way you get to this mindset is building a really good sense of self and identity and safety in who you are, because that visibility threatens you, because it's so easily eroded, your sense of self. Because look, that when you have a conversation that they do not include you in, you feel yourself disappear, instead of getting more solid and angry and being like, why am I sitting at a table where respect is not being served?
Yeah, that's true. Like you could, that's true. That's actually better. Yeah, because why would you be with someone when they're ignoring you?
Right. Their value of me is not reflective of my value.
Yes.
Their ignoring of me is not because I am worth ignoring, it's because of their ignorance.
Yes.
If you are called rude and disrespectful for calling out someone's rudeness, that is the most hypocritical double standard. And all that is telling you is they don't care how they impact you. They don't care. And that is not okay.
And it also means that nothing that I say will make them change their minds.
Exactly.
So then it is better to just say, you know what, then I'm just going to leave. I'm just going to see myself out.
Right. Because if you were to be able to do enough to convince them that you are worth seeing, would you not have managed that by now?
Yes. Yeah.
Right? And then how much energy do you want to give to somebody or people who resolutely do not want to see you?
None.
Right. Because Catherine, I can tell you, I have enjoyed talking to you so much. Like, we clearly are really aligned on lots of things and like insights and the way in which we enjoy the world and information. And there is such joy in that, to find that with another person. But why spend energy convincing people that you're worth spending time with when they just resolutely do not want to see it? And what that is a problem with their vision, not your value.
Oh, that's really good.
Put it on a t-shirt.
Yeah, that's really good.
Right. It's but it is. Yeah, it's their vision, not your value, that dictates that. You threaten them in some way that they have to silence you because they can't listen to you. Because whatever you do might be that it highlights their lack of knowledge, and instead of being, so I've got another friend who's the font of all knowledge, and so and we have these huge conversations, and I'll say, did you know? And initially when we first met, no, I didn't know, and he'd tell me, and then I was like, you did know that. Why? And because people get frustrated when and they, and it squishes their joy. And I was like, no, it makes me go, oh my God, tell me everything more. So don't you ever dare do that to me again. I want to know that you know it, because I know you're going to understand it better and give me more information, and I can learn from you, and I'll learn more by talking about it. Right. And people like who you want to be around, people who enjoy you, who see your value, are never going to tell you to be quiet and to make you yourself smaller for their comfort.
Yeah, they have never. They've never done that. They energize you. They make you feel, I don't know, they make me feel happy. They make me feel seen. And they make me like, it's a very joyful feeling.
Right. And then in that word seen, when you say I want to be seen, I would ask you to consider what that actually means. What do you actually mean by being seen? Do you want them to respect you, listen to you, give you voice, or do you want them? What is it that seen means? Because it seems like seen by your parents is different from seen that you just described.
Yes. And I don't think I have thought of different ways of being seen, because I don't think that everybody should see me at my most joyful, delightful way. I don't think people should have that right. But I think when you said respect, I think that is maybe in my work environment, that is how I want to be seen. So I think it's also using the right language myself.
Right. Okay. But it's just even understanding your own subjective understanding of the words, right? Because being seen, you're right. Not everybody gets to see your vulnerability and your emotion, your enjoyment of something. And I always think of emotions being like really delicate flowers, and that when we hand somebody this delicate flower, they get a choice to crush it or to like gaze at it in awe, to respect it, to nurture it, to love it. And I'm very, very wary of who I give those flowers to these days, because too many people are willing to crush them for their own comfort. And right. So no, they don't necessarily get to hear, or, being seen by your parents doesn't mean that they listen to, respect, and understand your life experience. It just might mean that they recognize you're in the room.
Yeah, that would be a good start.
Right. Right. But being seen by colleagues or friends or partner might be that they validate your emotional experience. They celebrate your wins and they hold your losses, that they support you through difficult stuff and celebrate you through the wins too,
No, that makes sense.
So, yeah. Okay. So conscious of time and wondering, have we kind of got to the crux of things? And if not, and genuinely are answering, as you know, I want you to tell me the truth. Is there anything that we haven't got to that you need to get to yet?
No, I think we did cover it. I really wanted to cover the husband part of it. So I'm really glad that we got to that. No, I think we covered everything. I'm really intensely grateful for this conversation.
Oh, me too.
I think for me, it's the start of just figuring things out for myself. And I don't think I would have gotten to this place if I didn't fall in the form. And so yes, you've definitely ticked all the boxes that I asked for. So thank you so much.
Well, I'm very glad. But if you walk away and you go, hang on, wait, what? I forgot to ask this, or there's this thing has come up, this question, just let me know, and we can, you ping me an email and we'll sort it out, and I can respond as best as I can, obviously. It has genuinely been a huge pleasure, and I'm really grateful for you coming back for part 2, because that visibility conflict between visible and invisible, and the threat and the danger and the frustration and the grief of either is really important for yourself. But I think listeners wise as well, people are going to really relate to that. you know, the desperation to being acknowledged, but also the absolute risk of being acknowledged too. Huge, huge thing. So thank you very much for coming and wandering down these roads with me. It's been a pleasure, absolute pleasure. All righty. Well, then, as we come to the end of this, I guess, as ever, all that remains to be said is take care. Bye.
Goodbye. Thank you so much.